What's up peeps, and welcome back to Israel Plays. I'm back with another DIY video. I'm going to be doing some wallpapering today. I've got two rooms to do, so I'm going to show you the easier one, which is the no pattern matching, and then the pattern matching. I'm going to show you what to look out for when you're buying your paper and how to plan how much wallpaper you'll need. I've got two types of wallpaper to show you today. One is paste the wall and one is paste the paper. So I've started wallpapering this wall. Firstly, you need to measure the length or the width of your wall and the height of your wall to work out how much paper you need. The paste that you will need, this one, I haven't got the box for it anymore, but this is a paste the wallpaper. Solvite, one of the best ones to use, or Polycell, another one of the best ones. This is the paste the wall. Buying your wallpaper, you need to make sure that the batch numbers match. So this one is a paste the wallpaper. Generally, you'll get 3 or 4 lengths out of the paper. If you're not pattern matching, which this one isn't because we've got vertical lines on here, the wood effect. If you need to pattern match, you'll get around 3 drops. We're going to put some cold water in the bucket. Our paste mix, I'll just do it with a wooden spoon. We're ready to go. Got Yasmin on the camera today. So we've put the roll on the floor. With paste the wall, you can do this. You don't have to pre-cut your paper. Just make sure you're concentrating on buttoning up the edges so that there's no gap in between the paper and that they're not overlapping. Once it's in the right place and you've set it all down, then you can use your smooth cloth over it to take out any air bubbles and to make sure that it's all perfectly stuck to the wall. Clean up any excess paste on the joins as soon as you can before it dries up. If you have a wallpapering brush, these are fantastic for this job, and you're not putting a lot of pressure on the paper, you're not risking tearing it, it's easy to do. And then if you've got an edging tool like this one cuts and it also marks your edges, so when you lift the paper off the wall you'll be able to see a clear line where you need to cut it. This paper's quite thick, so I will attempt to cut it with the blade, but it might not work, so you might need to use your scissors for that. Using a blade, you're risking tearing the paper, and if it's very thick, you have to press it down quite firmly, almost to the point of damaging the wall, so I'll use my scissors for this bit. Done. Basically the way I like to do this is without mixing it, so you just put some water in the bucket and pour some of the paste into it and just leave our first piece. So as we press the paper down, we've got a nice clear line to cut down. I like to put my paper on the sides of the table like this so I don't get any paste on the table. You've pasted as much as you can paste on the surface of the table. You need to get the top and fold it over. I'm going to be making a right old mess now because I'm trying to do this one-handed again. And you can move it up the table so to get to the bits that you haven't pasted. Generally just do 2 folds in it. I'll do one at the top, So a smaller fold in the top, and then the rest of the paper, once I've pasted it, I will fold it all the way back so it meets the other bit here now and give it some time to soak. So I've turned over the other side as well, and I've butted it all up in the middle, and this ensures that your paper doesn't dry out while you are waiting for it to soak. I've marked out just a little line here. We're going to draw down that line in a straight manner. It's just 2mm bigger than the paper. I'd advise to turn off the electric, or at least just the sockets if you have that on your fuse box. The shorter side that I've turned over is the top, and that gives me an indication that it's the top so I don't forget. Otherwise you'll end up with patterns upside down. So now we're using the edging tool again to mark out around the socket, so we get a little clear line, a square line all the way around the socket, and that helps you when you're cutting out your cross from corner to corner to know exactly where you need to stop. Do keep checking that the paper hasn't slipped out of place in any part as you are pulling it off the wall slightly to cut the cross out. It could change position and then you'll end up with a wonky piece, or you'll cut out too much where the socket goes. Proceed to cut out the bits that you've left that you don't need on there so that you see the socket. It's going to be impossible to get this completely perfect. As you'll see, it's not quite a square, but you can work on that by cutting down the corners a little bit more now that you can see where the switch plate is. What's left of it after you've cut as much as you can, you're going to tuck behind the switch plate so you won't see any of the rough edges, so don't worry if it's not too neat. And that's what we're going to do now, just start tucking it in. Try not to tear it, as that's easily done. One corner at a time. And as we've left that space behind by unscrewing it slightly, we can tuck it in neatly. The edging tool helps with this again. You need to unscrew it a little bit further. It's better to do that and risk the plate actually coming off the wall further. Just don't disturb any of the wiring, and put the screw back in. A little bit tricky to do, but if you have to, it's better than ripping your paper. Just clean up around it. If you're keeping your switch plate or your socket, then you need to clean that as well. I've got some old paint on this one. It's a very old switch, so I'm going to be replacing it. I'm not going to clean it too much, and I will just proceed with rolling down the rest of the paper. Again, starting in the center, working your way outwards, making sure there's no air bubbles, and if they are, they can be dispersed easily using this method. Put a little bit of paste on the wall so that it gets a little bit tacky and holds the paper up while you're measuring the length. I'm having some problems with this paper, and all paper comes with their problems. I mean, you sometimes are lucky and you don't have any problems with paper, depending on where you got it from, the brand of the paper. But the thing in question here, I'll just show you. Hopefully you'll be able to see it on camera. Very visible on camera, but the problem I'm having with it is that when I press it down, it's kind of leaving some lines and bumps. I mean, all paper's going to have a few bumps when you've hanged it. Well, most papers are. But because it's leaving lines, my way to get around that would be, hopefully when it's dry it will go down, but mix your paste a little bit more watery than you have or than you normally would do. And for the next length, use a paste that is slightly more watery than the first one. That will resolve the problem you're having with lines if you are getting those. Paper like this one, This paper's so thick and it also soaks up the paste very quickly. Just get a little bit on your brush, and you can get a smaller brush if you want. Just go up and down, repaste the edges. It's one of these little rolly things. Really cheap to buy, definitely worth buying. Do check before you lay the next legs that there's no shrinkage and everything's neat and tidy and trimmed off before it dries too much. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that helped you with your wallpapering projects, and I'll continue to post up any DIY projects I do in the future. I've got to paint some doors. You can see this door behind me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I do try and post up useful stuff. Give the video a like if it was helpful to you. Good luck with your DIY projects. Have fun and take care, and peace out. Paste on. Oops. That's it.